idea that you may need to prove citizenship just to access your own money is no longer hypothetical. According to Reuters, the US government is considering an executive order that would mandate that banks ask you for your citizenship information.
The Trump administration wants to turn your bank into an ICE informant. Here's how. The Wall Street Journal is reporting a proposed executive order that would force banks to ask every customer for proof of citizenship.
They wanted you to make sure you had 2 forms of ID in order for you to vote. Now you may possibly have to have 2 forms of ID to even have a bank account in the United States.
If you are an American, go and get you a passport. Get yourself a passport. Even if you don't plan on traveling anywhere internationally, and even if you're not doing any kind of international travel, you don't have any plans of going out of the country, go and get you a passport. Go and get you a passport.
The idea that you may need to prove citizenship just to access your own money is no longer hypothetical. According to Reuters, the US government is considering an executive order that would mandate that banks ask you for your citizenship information, even for existing accounts. In practice, what this means is banks could ask you to submit your documentation, and if you don't comply in time, your account could be restricted or even closed. And since half of Americans don't have a US passport, this could become a bureaucratic nightmare. And before anyone assumes that executive orders don't affect them, please remember what happened with the tariffs. Those were imposed by executive orders, cost American consumers billions of dollars, and it took roughly 10 months before the Supreme Court stepped in to reverse them. So while the people in suits argue over privacy and constitutionality, the real life impact to you would be that you could lose access to your own money. If you don't have a passport yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I created a free guide that has already helped hundreds. Just comment passport down below and I'll send you a free copy.
The Trump administration wants to turn your bank into an ICE informant. Here's how. The Wall Street Journal is reporting a proposed executive order that would force banks to ask every customer for proof of citizenship. A passport, a birth certificate, a naturalization certificate, a green card, something proving your status. Right now, banks don't ask about immigration status. You need a name, date of birth, address, and a social security number or ITIN. That's it. But under this order, if you don't provide citizenship proof, the bank would be required to file a suspicious activity report, a SAR, on you. That SAR goes to FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network under the Treasury Department. And here's the part that matters. FinCEN shares its database with ICE. So the pipeline is simple. You can't prove citizenship, your bank reports you, FinCEN gets it, ICE gets your name, your address, and your bank information. They know exactly who you are and where to find you. Now, this is still proposed. It hasn't happened yet. But if it goes through, banks will have to comply or risk massive fines and losing their FDIC insurance. Lawsuits will come, but until they do, the damage is done. Save this, send it to everyone you know, and follow, because when this moves, you need to hear about it first.
They wanted you to make sure you had 2 forms of ID in order for you to vote. Now you may possibly have to have 2 forms of ID to even have a bank account in the United States. Come on and sip a little tea with Auntie. Let's talk about it. Y'all know a couple weeks ago, it came out that Donald Trump was working with the Republican Party trying to get it to where you had to have 2 forms of ID to prove that you were United States citizens in order to vote. Now, that same thing they're working on for voting, they also are trying to incorporate it into banks as well. So, if you are not a United States citizen or you can't prove that you're a United States citizen, if it passes, y'all, you will no longer be able to have money in the bank. You won't even have a bank account. And people who already have bank accounts, if it passes, they're going to put a clause in the bank to where the bank has to go back and verify each of his account holders to verify that they are United States citizens in order to keep their bank accounts. Yes, y'all, it is getting to that point. If either of these passes, you will have to have these documents. So, to my people, to everybody, if you do not have 2 forms of identification, the time is now for you to go ahead to apply to your vital records to get your birth certificate. Go down to your local Social Security Administration, get your Social Security card. Make sure you have 2 forms of identification as well as your driver's license, ID, or whatever on you so you can vote and keep your bank accounts. I know it's getting out of hand, y'all, but you just have to rise to the occasion. If it's going to happen, if it's a possibility of them passing it, just make sure you prepare for whatever is thrown into your path. That's it. That's all, y'all. Thank y'all for sipping a little more tea with Auntie. Bye, y'all.
It's just going to seem like passports are going to be the new identification cards. You know what I mean? It just kind of seems like driver's license or the state issued IDs are not valid anymore. Everything nowadays, they just want to make sure you are a United States citizen. And what better way to show people or to show whoever that you are a United States citizen than your passport? You know what I mean? I get it. It's sad where we are right now, but it's better safe than sorry. Just go and get your passport. I normally would not travel around or walk around with my passport in my purse, but it just seems like we all have to be walking around with our passport in our purses. You know what I mean? So just go and get your passport, because now they're about to require your passport for you to vote. They're about to require your passport when you go to the bank. They're about to require your passport for so many identifications for you as an American to prove that you are an American. And most state issued IDs are, I don't know how, I think they are weak now, because I guess anyone can have access to a state ID or driver's license. So just go and get your passport. That's all I have to say. If you are an American, go and get your passport. You never know when you might need it. You don't even think you might travel out of the country ever, but just do it. Go and get your passport and just keep it on you at all times. But yeah, that's sad where we are heading. But let me know what you think about this story down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all in my next video.